Okay, so we are going to be taking a word problem and actually, instead of being given the equation, we are going to have to write the equation. So we are going to follow 3 steps. And those 3 steps would be, number 1 would be define a variable. So I don't care what variable you use, but you need to define it. If you use X and you're talking about the number of dogs, at least that's defining it. Or you could have used D for the number of dogs, for example. So you're going to define a variable. You are going to write the equation. And then you are going to solve the equation and write answer with the correct label. Okay, so if you want to go ahead and write down example 1, you can go ahead and pause the video and then restart once you get it written down. Anna wants to go eat pizza with her friends. Each pizza costs $8.50. How many pizzas can be bought if they have a total of $42.50? So the first thing that I like to look at is, what is the question being asked? What are we trying to find? So I'm looking and it says, how many pizzas? So that tells me what my variable is going to be. So I have P equals the number of pizzas. Okay, P equals the number of pizzas. I have a total of $42.50. So it's probably going to be an important piece. And then it says here, each pizza costs $8.50. Well, I don't know how many pizzas, but I know each one of them is going to be $8.50. So $8.50 times the number of pizzas that I have. I'm just going to put parentheses for right now. So $8.50 times the number of pizzas, that should equal my $42.50. Now, typically we don't write it like this, and I'm going to clean that up because that is bothering me. Okay, so now you still need to solve. So this would be my equation. So this would be part 2, or step 2. And now you need to solve. I am going to solve for my variable by dividing both sides by 850. And those are going to give me a coefficient of 1. So I have the number of pizzas equals, I have a handy dandy calculator. So I have 42.5 divided by 8.5. And it gives me a nice, neat 5. So 5. It says solve the equation, which I did. It says write the answer with the correct label. 5 what? 5 pizzas is my final answer. Now, you may have looked at this a little bit differently. I'm going to grab a different pen. Okay, so you may have thought, well, if I only have $42.50, and I know that they are $8.50 a piece, or each, then I could divide it and figure out the number of pizzas. So whether you wrote this equation or this equation, it would not matter. Okay? Second one. Again, you might want to pause it so that you can write down the word problem. James and his brother Simon have a reading assignment to complete. Simon has read 75 pages, and together they have read 200 pages. How many pages has James read? So I'm going to look at my questions. So it says, how many pages has James read? So I'm going to do R. You could have used X or whatever. R equals the number of pages James read. So I know that together with James and Simon, they read 200 pages. So I'm thinking that whatever James read, plus whatever Simon read, which it says that he read 75 pages, has to equal the 200 pages. Again, that is just one possible equation. Another way you could think of it is as well, if you have a total of 200 and Simon read 75 of them, then wouldn't that also give me how many James read? So I'm going to solve it. Solve for R, so I'm going to subtract 75 on both sides of the equation. So R equals 125. Again, you're not done. You have to write the correct label, so 125 pages. And no matter what equation you use, you would get the same answer. So the steps that I want you to make sure that you do is define a variable, write the equation, and then solve the equation, write the answer with the correct label.